make some raw vegan corn chips. Pretty yummy. Go great with any kind of dip. Got some hummus here. And to prove they actually are edible. This is one batch, 4 trays. Doesn't take hardly any time at all. It's really easy to put together. Now this is real easy, just a few things to throw together. The only kind of borderline, maybe not so raw kind of ingredient, depending on how strict you are, is frozen sweet corn. You do need about 4 cups. I find about 1 pound package frozen corn works well. Obviously, if you can get, if it's the season and you can get fresh corn, cut it off the cob and freeze it. That's going to be about as raw as you get. This has most likely been blanched, so it's not officially raw, but it's February, and this is what I've got to work with right now, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. It's ideal to let that thaw first, so I may pause this and thaw it out a little bit, but ultimately we want about 1 3/4 cups of golden flax meal, or any flax meal will do, and we're going to set this to the side. Okay, so then we are going to pretty much put everything else into our Vitamix, or high-speed blender, whatever you have. I highly recommend getting a Vitamix if you're going to try to do any kind of raw vegan recipes, as it is going to be crucial for most of the recipes. So I'm using some shallots. You could also use an onion. Red onion probably would be best, but I have shallots, so I'm going to use them. But about 1/2 cup, 3/4 of a cup full. Using about 1 fat clove of garlic. I've got these little pieces. That's going to equate to about a clove of garlic for me. We're doing 1.5 cups of water. Of course, remember to always use your distilled water, as it's the cleanest water and free of fluoride, where pretty much all other waters, even if it's run through a filter, still is going to have some fluoride in it. Now, your reverse osmosis will have, maybe 90-95% of it cleared out, but it's still a man-made filter, so don't count on it to be fluoride free. And if you're not aware about fluoride, it's a neurotoxin. Most countries in the world have banned it. They spill it at your water treatment plant. They have to bring in hazmat teams to clean it up. So it calcifies the pineal gland, all sorts of nasty stuff we don't want to deal with. We're using 2.5 tablespoons of olive oil. Make sure your olive oil is grown, pressed, and bottled in the same location. You don't want just a generic one off the shelf. You're probably going to be spending, $15, $20, $25 on a small bottle of it. But it's worth it to get the good stuff. Don't screw around with your oils. You want the best you can get because you're worth it. Tablespoon of cumin. I recommend ground cumin that's organic. I'm going to eyeball this. Okay, that's pretty much all the cumin I have, which is about a tablespoon. Works out. I'm going to do, let's see, pinch of cayenne. I like my stuff real spicy, so I'm going to go ahead and do a full shake of 160,000 degree cayenne pepper, because I like it hot, and cayenne is extremely good for you. Feeds the heart, can stop a heart attack in under a minute, so keep all that kind of stuff in mind. Use more cayenne and your heart will be much healthier, have better blood pressure, things like that. A chipotle chili powder, if I can find it here. Ah, yes. Ground chipotle chili. It's one of my favorites. Nice smoky flavor. And we're done about 2 teaspoons. And do a little bit of salt. Your sea salt, despite what everybody thinks, is not very assimilable. It's not a good source of minerals. Yes, it has lots of minerals, but you're just absorbing them, not assimilating them. There's a big difference. If you just absorb it, it's foreign matter to the body. If you assimilate it, it's being energetically bonded and used by the body. So supposedly in about a handful of salt, you can count out about 20 grains, and that's all you're actually going to assimilate into the body. The rest is just foreign matter, and usually shows up first in your eyes. So it weakens the eyes first. And then we need a little bit of lemon or lime juice, and organic is ideal. And about a tablespoon, maybe a smidge more. It's not rocket surgery. You know what? It's not thawed out, but I believe in my Vitamix. I'm going to go ahead and see how capable this Vitamix really is. It puts off a lot of heat anyways. I'm sure it'll take care of this right quick. Probably a little better if you have a slightly bigger bowl, but what you're doing is you're just going to mix this together until it's like a nice thick paste. You don't want any clumps of one or the other in there. You want it to be mixed pretty evenly. If it ends up too thick, just add some more water. If it ends up too runny, add more flax. Ultimately, just make sure you stir it all together really well. There will be chunks, so chop those out. Get a nice thick, chunky paste sort of here. That's what we're looking for. Alright. Now we're going to be spreading this on our dehydrator sheets. If you don't have a dehydrator, pause the video, go buy one, wait on it to show up, and then continue on. Okay, so we have our dehydrator sheet here. Now everybody always tells you just to go ahead and put it right on the sheet. I suggest putting down some wax paper. Just this may slow the dehydration time, but it's much easier to clean up your mess. You're not picking out of each of these little holes all the time, and it kind of extends the life of your non-stick sheets a little bit. So wax paper's cheap, doesn't take much. So you're gonna just pop some on here. Gently kind of massage it out. You want it to be ideally about 1/8 of an inch thick. You don't want it too thick because then it takes a lot longer for it to dehydrate. You don't want it too thin because then it just breaks apart and you don't really have solid chips. We're going to do at least 4 of these. Obviously you can go a little bit bigger. This one ended up being small for me, but the next one will be bigger. Okay, so we're going to put this in the dehydrator for about 30-40 minutes, somewhere in there, maybe an hour. And we're going to, once it gets to a point where it's not so sticky, we'll take a knife, the backside of a knife, and we'll just score it and put marks in it. You know, kind of make little triangles or something, and that's, you know, you'll be able to break your chips apart and have actual normal looking tortilla chips when we're done. Alright, so it's been about 16 hours in the dehydrator, and I've already flipped them over and peeled off the wax paper and let them go a little bit longer, and so they're all crumbling into their little pieces now. So I usually just put them in some kind of baggie or jar or whatever you have available, something that they're not going to get broken in. You can obviously serve them right away and they're warm, which is amazing. Or you can put them in the freezer and they'll last for you know, up to a couple months really. If you're going to store them for a longer period of time, I usually will add one of those little silica packets that you find in all your dehydrated foods. I usually stash a couple of those around just for things like this. So and there you have it. And they're pretty darn tasty. All right, thanks for watching.